You want to get better at drums, but you can't read notation. Don't worry about it. We're going to go over the basics so you can at least get started, and all these videos you see on YouTube aren't as intimidating, and you can just enjoy yourself and have a great life. So put on your reading glasses and let's get going. Come on! First things first, the staff is where we're going to put all the notes. That's the thing that has 5 lines, 4 spaces in between. First thing you're going to look at when you get a piece of music is the time signature. If it's 4/4, top number's 4, bottom number's 4, that means I'm going to be counting to the number 4. That's what the top number tells me. And the bottom number tells me I'm going to be counting quarter notes. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I just counted 2 measures of 4/4. Makes sense? If you get confused about the bottom number, don't feel bad. That used to throw me for a while. Just imagine that there's a 1 above that number. Okay, so 1/4 is 1/4. And what's the nickname for 1/4? Quarter. Quarter note. There you go. 1/2, 1/2. Be half notes. 1/8, eighth notes. Easy, right? So this is important because if I'm playing in 4/4 and I see eighth notes, I'm going to count 1 and 2 and. Okay? If I'm playing in 4/8 and I see eighth notes with that beam above them, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would have to see 16th notes to count as 1 and 2 and. It's a lot of math. Right now, let's just focus on 4/4 and how we count through each measure of that and what kind of notes we'll see. So at the very top is the whole note. Looks like the Oakley symbol. It counts as 4 counts. It's big, right? No stem, hollow note head. Half note, still a hollow note head, but it has that stem coming out of it. It looks like a lowercase d, okay? Then if you fill in the bubble, the note head is solid. That makes it a quarter note. Okay, so now you have 4 in each measure there. If you wanted to go to eighth notes, you just put a beam in between what looks like quarter notes. That makes them eighth notes. Then you can just add a second beam to make it 16th notes, a third beam to make it 32nd, and then if you're really fancy, there's a 4th beam to make it 64th notes, and there's more than that, but I can't count past 64, so we're going to just leave that alone. You might see 8th, 16th, and 32nd notes without a beam connecting them to any other note, and it just looks like a flag. But if you notice, you have single, double, triple to tell you what kind of note that is. You need to understand that we have rests as well. So I have whole note, half note, quarter, 8th, 16th, 32nd, rests. So just because I'm not playing doesn't mean that counts go anywhere. So if I have a quarter note rest on count 4, just because I'm not playing doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that there's no drums on that particular count. Let's put some of our knowledge to the test. We're going to play 2 measures of 4/4. We're going to play the first 3 counts and rest on the 4th in each measure. I'm going to count the notes that I play more loudly than the rest. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So ASMR aside, did that make sense? See, if I don't count that way and I don't keep track, it's much easier for me to rush the rest. 1, 2, 3. What? Why is everybody looking at me? I didn't count and I rushed the rest. I also then rushed the second measure, just the spacing in the notes, because I had no bearing of where I was. So make sure you count and keep track of what you're doing. I'm going to play 4 quarter notes on each voice so you can see what it looks like notated, and then also hear it so you can make that association. Let's go with hi-hat first. Snare drum. Bass drum. Tom-tom. Second tom-tom. Need to tune that. Floor tom. Ride cymbal. Bell of the ride. Crash. Do you notice how I use the bass drum with that crash? Because when I'm playing punctuated hits like that, I want to make sure I accompany the crash with a bass drum. Now, when you see crash, based on the style, if you have more than one crash cymbal, you'll know which one to use. If I'm playing lighter, I'd use a splash. If I'm playing heavier, I'd use a stack, right? It's really up to your discretion, so don't freak out about playing the right crash cymbal. If you have that problem, life's good, man. Just relax. Let's take an eighth note feel rock beat. Real simple. Hi-hat, playing eighth notes. You see their X's for note heads on top of the staff, so higher pitch, higher up on the staff. They have stems coming out of them, and there's beams going across the top connecting them. So you count those 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to add bass and snare on numbers. The numbers are called downbeats. The ands are called upbeats. So on the downbeats of 1 as well as 3, I'm going to play bass drum with my right foot. On the downbeats of 2 and 4, I'm going to play with my left hand on the snare drum. So on the upbeats, it should be just hi-hat. So you'll be able to hear and watch me, but I really want you to watch the notes. We'll play the same measure and repeat it a bunch of times. When you get to about count 4, your eyes should track back to count 1 so you know what's coming next. You ready? Let's go. Now we're going to play 16th notes on the hi-hat. The notes are still on the top of the staff. The note heads are X's, but you notice you have a double beam there. The double beam makes the note smaller so that you can fit literally twice as many notes in the measure as eighth notes. Now you're still going to count 1 and just add E, So I have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Measures are going to stay the same size until you see a new time signature. So you can only really cut up the measure into different slices using different types of notes. So let's try it. So now you actually understand the basics of an eighth note feel versus a 16th note feel. So you can tell other drummers like, oh, that was like a 16th note feel. That's just like, that gets you in the drummer club. If you start talking about feel and stuff, it doesn't mean anything other than I played 16th notes on my hi-hat or eighth notes. So there you go. You got some cool lingo in your back pocket now. Those two beats are relatively simple, so I understand if you're a little bit bored. Just make sure you're working on notation, not what you can play. If you had written out all of your favorite grooves and licks, you'd be like, what? Looks like note soup. What is this? So make sure you're taking the time to work on the basics so that you can then level up. So before you go back to work on a song tutorial, make sure this makes complete sense. We'll go over harder things in the future, like fills, but I want to get the basics so you can take this and use it anywhere else. Stinky Fabrizi. I don't have a Stinky. Fabrizi, polka dots, my Instagram, Facebook, Drew Wooten Drums. Go follow me there. Like, subscribe. Be safe. Be nice to yourself. And wash those hands. I'll see you later.